What's going on, everyone? Welcome to my new series, Rating and Ranking, or Ranking and Rating. I don't even know what I'm titling it at this point. I just like the alliteration of it, and that's the gist of it. I'm gonna be rating and ranking stuff in this series. So I asked 6 of my friends for their top 5 albums of all time. And by top 5, I mean favorite 5. And I told them it could be all time, any genre, anything. And I'll listen to it, I wanna review it, I wanna rank it, and rate it. I asked them what artists you listen to the most, go through their albums and decide your favorite ones, and just give me some of your favorite albums of all time. Me, myself, I'm a very album focused person. If you check out my channel at the moment, everything's about albums. The reason I'm so focused on albums is because I think that is the purest art form of what an artist can put out. Now, this took a lot of time to make. This has been in the works for a minute. But you gotta understand, there's 30 albums that I listened to because I either revisited all the albums on here or listened to the first time for these albums. So it took me a minute. Thank you to all my friends who participated in the making of this video. I appreciate you guys giving me your list, letting me use your name and everything. And this is gonna be the first name drop, okay? So I got Noah, Josh, Gabe, Max, Jamie, and A.MAX. That's what I'm gonna call you for this, because we got 2 Maxes, so it's A.MAX and Max. All right, look at that, we got the first name drop. Woo, yay. Okay, leave a comment, please. Give me engagement, like the damn video. So my friends gave me their list in order from 1 through 5, 1 being their favorite, 5 being their 5th favorite. You get it. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go over each album, and I'm gonna go in my order of what I think should have been 1 out of your 5, should have been 2, and so on. I'm gonna rearrange your whole 5, and it's gonna be completely different, so that you get an idea of what my music taste is like. I'll go over each album, give some highlights of it, let you know what I like, what I don't like about it, and I'm also going to give up to 5 song picks for each album. So there's gonna be a lot of song suggestions on here. If you see an album that you've been meaning to listen to, take my song picks, take those and listen to those first. Start off with that to kind of get you into the album. After I do that, I'm going to go on to the next person and do the same thing. Rearrange all the albums. Once I get through everyone's name, I'm going to give you guys a number rating out of 10 on your collective list. And after that, we're going to go through and rank all your albums together. Planning on doing it is going on Tier Maker, and I'm just going to rank them based as their collective 5. A lot of you were thinking that the way I was going to rank them was I was going to put all 30 albums separately, and then I was going to rank all of those separate. And while that does make sense, I can do that in another video if you guys like. I'll record that as a backup. I'll see if you guys want that out as a part 2 or not. So to summarize, I'm going to talk about my friends' albums. I'm going to rearrange their order. I'm going to rate their albums, and then I'm going to rank them. This will give people a good idea about my music taste, what I'm kind of into, as well as it'll kind of keep you guys on your toes trying to see what I'm going to say about it, how I feel about your album. And I want to do this in a discussing kind of way. Like, I want you guys to comment and be like, nah, bro, there's no way you put my 1 at my 5. I want to talk about this in the comments. I'm not trying to argue, but I'm trying to disagree and kind of, discuss. With that being said, I really don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. I've already said this multiple times to you guys before recording it, and I think everyone gets the idea, like, yeah, we don't care if you don't like the album, and by all means, you shouldn't care if I don't like your album. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion, and I just want to stress that for this video. Last thing before we start is, can we please get a hashtag fuck Scott in the comments, because this man did not want to participate, and it's always fuck Scott. Everyone's albums go as follows. We have Noah's list coming up first. His number 1 is Enema of the State by Blink-182. His 2 is Take Off Your Pants and Jacket by Blink-182. His 3rd is Insomniac by Green Day. His 4th is Dirt by Alice in Chains. And his 5th is Core by Stone Temple Pilots. You can see the genre that Noah is more into here. This one will be interesting. Next up is going to be Josh. His number 1 is Rodeo by Travis Scott. His number 2 is Views by Drake. His number 3 is Birds in the Trap Sing McKnight by Travis Scott. His 4 is Playboi Carti's self-titled debut album. And his 5 is Save Me by Future. Again, this one, you can kind of see the genre that he's going for here. Next up is Gabe. His number 1 is To Pimp a Butterfly by Kendrick Lamar. His number 2 is Let's Start Here by Lil Yachty. 3 is Utopia by Travis Scott. 4 is Angel Eyes by Kenny Mason. And 5 is Heavy by Sir. Next is Max. His number 1 is Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness by the Smashing Pumpkins. His number 2 is The Bends by Radiohead. Number 3 is For Your Eyes Only by J. Cole. Number 4 is Currents by Tame Impala. And number 5 is Faces by Mac Miller. Next is A.MAX. Alright, his number 1 is Heartbreak Hotel by Soldier Kid. His number 2 is Brennan Jones 1 by Brennan Jones. His number 3 is Dedication by Chief Keef. 4 is Never Wanted Fame by Foolio. And 5 is Bloodshell's Revenge by Glock 9. I think I'm pronouncing that right. I'd assume so. Very interesting list. Those are all the same kind of vibe. I see you. And last but not least is Jamie. His number 1 is 1X by 3 Days Grace. His number 2 is 3 Days Grace Self-Titled. His number 3 is Hybrid Theory by Linkin Park. 4 is Come Clean by Puddle of Mud. And 5 is Dirt by Alice in Chains. Okay, once again, before I fully start, I want to say that I revisited every album, re-listened to all of these albums in full. It took me a long time, and there were a lot of first listens on here. I'll let you know if it's a first listen to me, but let's go. Okay, first up is Noah's list. Noah has a very punk list, as you can see. This 5 really gives me a sort of I hate you, mom, teenage punk kind of vibe to it. But starting off strong, what I'm gonna put in the number 1 spot is Dirt by Alice in Chains. This is just an absolute classic. If you've never heard this, you need to make sure you listen to it at least once before you die. Add that to a list of albums you gotta listen to before you die. The album sounds just as the cover looks. It's like a grunge-ish kind of depressing album, but it's very good. And these are my 5 song picks. These are like probably the top 5 most popular songs in the album, but they're the ones you need to hear. Coming in at my number 2 spot, I have your number 5 album, Core by Stone Temple Pilots. I've heard a song or two off this album before, but for the most part, this was a first listen for me. For some reason, this kind of reminds me of like biker music, and I'm no biker, as you can see. They low-key sound like a watered-down Alice in Chains, ironically. At my 3rd spot, I'm gonna put your number 1 album, Enema of the State. This is my first time listening to a Blink album, and I didn't realize how whiny they sounded, not gonna lie. Like I said before, very teenage punk sounding. I think they were probably teenagers when they made this. And I also didn't realize there were 2 singers. This is the first time realizing that. I thought it was just one guy, but it's a 3-man band and there's 2 singers. Pretty cool fact. Not even a fact, that's well known. Not just the vocals, but the music sounds very young, if that makes sense. It's just that teenage punk. That's the best way I can just describe it. I can see myself liking this a little bit more if I grew up listening to it like back then, you know what I mean? At my number 4 spot, I'm gonna put your number 2 album, Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. I just can't take Blink 182 seriously, man. They grew on me as I listened, you know. I really like the drums. That's my favorite part about this band and this album specifically. But otherwise, I can't see myself listening to this like on a daily basis. If every song sounded like this top song of mine, Stay Together for the Kids, I would like this album so much more. But they just don't sound like this, and this is the only one, and it's the highlight of the song to me. Of course, there's some sort of classics on here. I think I added one. Can't remember off the top of my head. I have a whole playlist with all my picks in it, so I'm just going off of memory here. But I gotta say, my favorite part about this band is the drums, definitely. I just can't get into the vocals. And in my 5th spot, I have Insomniac by Green Day. You saw that coming. It's very energetic, very fast punk rock, and this is like early punk. You know, I was looking at Green Day's discography, and I didn't realize that they were kind of like, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like they were kind of the first people to be really doing this. Like, they made this kind of popular. It made me realize how long they've been in the game. You know what I mean? Like, they're pioneers of punk, really. As far as the album, though, this album got old to me very quick. I think since I don't listen to this type of music normally, it just all kind of blended together and sounded the same to me. But of course, Brain Stew is on this album, and that's an iconic song. It might even be Green Day's best song off the top of my head. So it gets some points for that. Next up, we're moving to Josh's top 5. I was surprised that he didn't have just 5 Travis Scott albums, because this man is a huge Travis Scott fan, as you know, buddy. And speaking of Travis, my number 1 album from yours is going to be Birds in the Trap. I forgot how good this album was. I used to bump it all the time. When I was first getting into hip hop, Travis Scott was one of the people that I looked to, and this album was basically on repeat for me. I mean, starting it off, you have an Andre 3000 feature on the first song. Like, come on. That immediately bumps it up for me. Collectively speaking, I think this is a more whole and complete album than Rodeo, with maybe one miss. And with that, my number 2 is Rodeo by Travis Scott. Rodeo is a very similar album to Birds, because I mean it came out like what, a year apart from each other, and they're almost the same size, but Rodeo's a little bit bigger, and unfortunately it just has a couple more misses than Birds. However, I do think Rodeo has some damn high highs. Like 90210 is probably my favorite Travis Scott song of all time, and because of that, this made me almost put this album as my number 1. I personally believe that's just one of his best songs ever. These 2 albums are a huge part of Travis Scott's career. They really made him a star, and honestly, they're some of the most pivotal albums of our generation. I mean, they're iconic. The features on it are wild too. I mean, that definitely helped him out at the time, popularity wise. Here are my favorites from both albums. I wanted to put them both at the same time because, like I said, they're just so similar. I feel like Josh might give me shit for leaving off Apple Pie off of Rodeo's picks here, but just know I was hesitant, but ultimately I like Marie I'm Drunk just more. And also Antidote is just too iconic to leave off to me. That being said though, I did leave Goosebumps off because it's just way too overplayed. It's also iconic, but it was just way too overplayed for me. Last thing I'm gonna say for this is for Birds, if the SDP interlude was the extended version that's out there, that would easily be probably the top song on this album. That is so good. I just wish the interlude was extended. Coming in at my number 3 is your number 2, Views by Drake. Now, I'm not a Drake fan, but this probably is my favorite Drake album, at least since a couple years ago. My taste may have changed. I don't know. I haven't revisited his album. The production on this album is my favorite from his other ones, and I think that's what pushes it to the top. At the very least, my top songs off of this album are some of my top Drake songs ever. One of these days, I'm going to gather all of my thoughts on Drake and put it into a video. I'm a day one Drake hater, but I just can't deny that the man makes some great music. He's just so corny sometimes, you know, like for me, it's the way he forces accents and sometimes like tries to be all nonchalant. Like, come on, man. His white side shows a lot, and I think that's what does it for me. I just am not a fan of that. At number 4, I'm keeping it the same. Playboi Carti's Self-Titled. I'm really gonna start sounding like a broken record here, but if I had to pick, this would also be my favorite Carti album. I'm not a Carti fan whatsoever, but this was just such a good time period, such a good era that you just have to like it. I gotta say though, I think Carti would be nothing without Pure Born. The beats carry, they're just so pure and iconic. Carti just says a whole lot of nothing in his music. I think that's where I kind of stay away from it. Like, he's just not a good rapper, and unfortunately his fans ride him so hard, and it's such a loyal fan base to him that they'll never admit that beats have carried him his whole career. I'm sorry, but there's just no talent at what he does. Like, anyone can do what he's doing over the beats that he has, and he's not even making the beats. So where's the talent? Anyone can do that. It's just that side of hip hop though. I feel the same way about artists like Yachty, Lil Uzi, you know, that side of hip hop. Fortunately though, I'm a super open-minded individual, and I can understand why it's good to people. It's catchy. There's definitely some great songs on here, some iconic songs. It's just not my favorite. I'm into that lyrical miracle shit, you know? And number 5, I'm keeping yours, Save Me by Future. Josh, I'm not gonna lie. You know I don't listen to Future, but there were so many better Future albums you could have picked, and you chose this one, dog. I understand this is your favorite. It's just shocking to me. Like, how do you not like DS2 or even like Monster better than this album? I don't get it. Honestly, I didn't like this album at all, and luckily it was only 7 tracks, so it was over with pretty fast. It was very easy for me to put this at the number 5 spot, and if I had to pick a favorite song, it'd be Please Tell Me. Next person up is Gabe, and I figured, you know, similar to Josh, I figured you would have 5 Kendrick albums on here, but you didn't, which is cool. You wanted to switch it up, and that's what you told me. You kind of put some diversity in there, and also put some albums that were important to you at different times in your life. You mentioned that to me. You know what I'm saying. My number one from your list is gonna stay the same. It's T-Pab by Kendrick. What a great first pick. Often referred to as the greatest rap album ever, and even sometimes the greatest album ever made, this is undoubtedly a classic. Me personally, I've always liked Good Kid, Mad City more, just as a favorite, but T-Pab is definitely a perfect album. The rapping, the storytelling, the production, the entire feel of the album is just so perfect. And if you've never heard, you have to hear this. There's no misses at all. But you either love it or you hate it. If you don't like Kendrick, I can see hating the album, whatever, because you're a hater. But if you straight up think it's a bad album, then you're just out your rabbit ass mind. I mean, come on. It is not a bad album. If you seriously think that this is a bad album, then I just don't respect your music taste whatsoever. And I could probably never talk to you about music in a conversation. It's a great album and nothing less. And if you disagree, then your music taste just has to mature. No T-Pab slander will be tolerated. These are my favorite songs. Pretty basic, I know, but they've just always been my favorite. Easy. At number 2, I'm gonna put Angel Eyes by Kenny Mason. While I don't think this is Kenny Mason's best album, I think it is a super complete album of his, and it really shows you the best of him. If you've never heard of Kenny Mason, this would be a good place to start. Kenny is gonna be a superstar one day. Mark my words. And I'm proud to say that I've been a fan of this man since 2020. Cue the screenshot. I always flex that because I take pride in this shit. Since I'm such a big fan of his, this is why I have his album at number 2. At number 3, I'm keeping it the same, Utopia. This is an amazing album from this decade, in my opinion. It's easily one of the top ones from this decade so far. And to be honest, I don't think this album gets the love that it deserves. In 2023, this was my most played album, and I think it is stacked with features. Production is beautiful, and the rapping is great. So what more could you ask for? This is also my favorite example of hidden features on an album. Like when I tell you I floated when SZA came on Telekinesis for the first time, oh my gosh. If you've never heard this song, listen to it right now. And well, I guess that's a spoiler, but just not knowing that SZA is gonna come on this beautiful beat, it was heavenly. Just sitting there with headphones on, with the eyes closed, and then all of a sudden you hear her. Beautiful. Easily the best moment on the album. It was the most shocked I've ever been at a hidden feature in my life. Still the best I've ever seen. Originally I had this album at number 4, but I had to bump it up after re-listening because I realized how good it was and just remembered how much I listened to it when it came out. I made this color code song review picture 2 days after this album dropped, and everything is still pretty accurate to me. The only thing I'd change is bump some of them down from amazing to great. And I actually still use this same color code scale for my separate album reviews that you should check out. But as of today, these are my top 5 picks from the album. At my 4th spot, I got Let's Start Here by Lil Yachty. This is hands down the best Yachty album, without question. Great intro, great outro, great in between. This album is actually psychedelic rock inspired, with the intro track sounding very similar to Pink Floyd, definitely inspired by them. And this is obviously completely different than what Lil Yachty's used to. He took a different route, and I think he did a damn good job. Also, I think the cover of this is very interesting because I'm pretty sure he used AI for it. And it's just crazy to me because in only 3 years, just look how much AI has progressed. Like now, as of today, it's looking very realistic. Not very, like you can still tell it's AI, but it's so much more realistic now. And in here, like you can see how they just couldn't get the faces down. Here are my song picks for this one. I'm not gonna lie, it was very hard leaving Paint the Sky off of this one, but I just couldn't leave off the intro track, and I wanted to keep it to 5 songs, like I said, and like I've been doing for the other ones. If you've never heard this album, I urge you to listen because this is one of the best albums that's come out in this decade. And this is coming from someone who's not even a Yachty fan, so check it out. At number 5, we got another agreement here with Heavy by Sir. I like this pick. We got a little R&B placement here. This is such an underrated album. A very interesting pick. I loved this album when it came out in 2024. I almost overplayed it quite honestly. I feel bad putting this at 5, but it's just the right placement. Karma is my forever favorite on here. Shout out Isaiah Rashad. But you really can't go wrong with any of the songs on here. It's all about preference, really. And honestly, the song Nothing Really Matters was a close cut on this one, so add that to the 5 here. Next up is A.MAX. Wow, what a list. All right, for my number 1 pick, I'm going to take your number 5 and put Faces by Mac Miller here. For those of you who don't know, I'm a huge Mac Miller fan, and Faces is top 3 Mac Miller, and it's not 3. Such a great project, man. This is an album that you should listen to if you've never heard. Like, seriously, this is, add this to the list of albums you gotta listen to before you die. We got Dirt and Faces. It's a must listen to anyone ever. I don't care how young, how old you are, you gotta hear it. This album changed me, like, for real. The first time I listened to it was during a very important transitional period of my life, and it helped me a lot. This album is very rap focused, and it really showcases how good Mac is lyrically. And it kind of takes him away from that frat rap, you know, that he was labeled at early in his career. This album really changed things for him. The beats on here, they're nothing crazy, but they're just what make Faces Faces. I love this album, so it has to be my number 1. And it was really hard to pick 5 songs off of here because there's 25 songs on it. At my number 2 pick, I'm gonna put your number 3 pick, For Your Eyes Only by J. Cole. God, I love this album. It's easily a classic, in my opinion. Dare I say, might be J. Cole's best album. I go back and forth between thinking this and 2014 Forest Hills Drive is his best, obviously, but I think I just like this one the most. It's got to be my favorite of his. It's just timeless. Nice 10-song project, dropped in 2016. I love it. I feel like even non-J. Cole fans would like this album. These are the 5 songs I added. Change is one of my favorite songs of all time. Neighbors went triple platinum in my youth, and I chose She's Mine Part 2 rather than 1 just because it's longer, feels more complete, and I just like the raps better on it. And third, I'm gonna put Tame Impala's Currents, another classic album in the modern era. Honestly, you could add this to the list of albums you need to hear before you die. Put it up there. While re-listening to this album, I realized that we may never get an album like this ever again. Something like this just can't be recreated. This also has one of the best album covers of all time, so that definitely bumps it up for me. But here are my top 5 songs. These are honestly the 5. They're definitely the most popular, but they're also the best songs on here, so check them out. And number 4, I'm putting your number 1, Melancholy by Smashing Pumpkins. This was my first time hearing this, and it took me so long to listen because it's a double album, 28 songs, 2 hours. Crazy. I don't love the singer's voice, to be honest, but I got used to it fast. I just definitely like the music on here more than the vocals. For example, the song Where Boys Fear to Tread, the vocals just don't fully match in my opinion. Like, the instrumentals are great, but the vocals are just like, eh. This album is a bit of a roller coaster. It switches from mellow music to kind of a light grunge or like a heavier alternative rock just so quick. Like, for example, the whole song Porcelina of the Vast Oceans, if you listen to that whole thing, it's a total roller coaster. Also, going from Tonight Tonight to Jelly Belly left me shocked. Another one is going from 1979 to Tales of Scorched Earth. Crazy vibe switch. I thought this was a great album, honestly. I liked it way more than anticipated. I feel bad putting your number 1 this low, but you know my taste. It was very hard to pick 5 favorites off of this album because, like I said, it's a 28-song album, but I did end up going with these. In my last spot, I got Radiohead, The Bends. I just don't love Radiohead as much as other people do, but I also haven't dove into their music, so can't really give too much of an opinion on it. They're another one of those bands or even artists that just have a super strong fan base, but it's becoming so almost trendy. Like, I understand why it's good. I recognize the good in it. I'm just not all there. I'm not completely on the train. I do recognize that they're really good. I just need to dive into their music more to fully understand. Someone put me on to the good, underrated Radiohead songs, please. I know the popular ones. I know a little bit of their albums, but not really, so put me on. This is a solid album. It's definitely my least favorite between all the others, but like I said, you know my taste. And quite honestly, this was a lot closer to passing the Smashing Pumpkins album than you think. Gotta say, I think High and Dry is my favorite Radiohead song. Or maybe it's Weird Fishes. I don't know, I just don't have depth with Radiohead music. I almost left it at 4 song picks for this album, but that'd really annoy me if I gave you 5 picks for all of them and then this one just had 4. So take this last song as a pity pick. Next up is A.MAX. You got an interesting top list here, man. It's got the same vibe around it though. My number 1 pick out of these albums has got to be Dedication by Chief Keef. Chief Keef is obviously the biggest artist on your list, and because of that, this album sounds the best. Like the way it's put together, you can just tell it's mixed and mastered better, you know? So that automatically puts it above the others product-wise. I will say though, the songs on here, they started blending together, sounding very similar, and it seemed like they're following the same pattern on each song. At number 2, I have Brendan Jones 1. I have this at my number 2 strictly because I like the beats on some of the songs. I seriously can't tell if this dude is serious, like genuinely. Buddy sounds mad unintelligent, especially when they slowed his voice down on the intro. That shit had me dying. Back to the unintelligent remark though, here's a real quote from his song Believe in the Kid. He said, "I'm the shit like a toddler. I never paid attention to my teachers because I knew I was smarter." This is bro, by the way. Yeah, I laughed out loud at that line, I'm not gonna lie. The best part of this album are easily the beats. It definitely carried. His voice just feels so forced to me. This is one of those artists that annoy me a little bit because anyone could do what he's doing. There's no lyricism, there's no skill, there's no talent. Also, mind you, there's not a single song over 2 minutes on this album. All right, bro, these next 3, they were kind of rough, I'm not gonna lie. I put Never Wanted Fame by Foolio at my number 3. First 15 seconds of the album. What the fuck? He straight up just started off with Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo. Crazy. I will say though, this was better than I expected. Rip Foolio. Rest in peace, man. It's similar to this next one I'm about to go over. That one would be Bloodshell's Revenge by Glock 9 at my number 4. First off, the cover art is crazy on this. But this album is just kind of to me. But my 2 song picks are honestly within the top 5 of all of the song picks. Third song on this album kind of sounded like an old Cardi B. Almost every song on here had those overlapping vocals where it really sounds like he's announcing the lyrics, and I like that about it. And you know, I was gonna say that I see potential in this dude. Like I want to see where he goes in the future. I want to see how he grows. Then I saw that he hasn't dropped in some years, so I looked him up. And unfortunately, he's locked up right now, and he has been since 2021. He's serving like 7 years in prison. So, yeah, I don't know about the potential on him anymore. And my number 5 spot is going to be your number 1 pick, Heartbreak Hotel by Soldier Kid. This album is ass, dude. Straight up, it is so bad. I'm sorry, dog. The beats just sound like Juice WRLD beats to me. Buddy cannot sing, and his voice is just so annoying. Honestly, I'm shocked that you had this at number 1. No offense. I know it's your favorite, but I don't understand. It's not my thing at all. These song picks are the best on the album in my opinion. I just think he matches the beat the most on these. Lastly, I have Jamie with an entirely rock list. This is my brother's top 5 list, so I'm gonna try my best to be unbiased here with ranking them. My number 1 has got to be your number 1 with 1X. This is easily my favorite album out of all 5, and this is a staple on both of our childhoods. So of course it's going to be number 1 for both of us. Every part of this album is just perfect. I don't think there's skips on it at all, but like I said, I'm kind of biased. I listened to it ever since I was a little kid, so obviously I'm gonna like it more than the average person. I think the singer Adam Gontier, it has the perfect voice for this type of music. And this album is when they really got popular and they were actually signed to a record label and they were super mainstream. So there's hits on here that you would recognize, like Animal I Become, Pain, Riot. And this is another one where it was really hard to pick 5 songs off of here because the entire album is good to me, like I said. So it was super hard, but I kept it to where it's popular songs and also my picks. At number 2, surprise, surprise, I'm keeping it the same. 3 Days Grace self-titled. This album and 1X just go hand in hand. They're both very similar and both very good, but we both have agreed that 1X has always had the upper hand. 1X came out after this one. This one is the self-titled is a debut album of theirs, so they're kind of like figuring out their sound almost, and there's just songs that aren't as on par as 1X. So for that reason, this one's number 2. At number 3, I'm keeping it the same once again. Hybrid Theory by Linkin Park. This is yet another album where we both listened to it growing up, and we had it on repeat. So of course it's gonna stay in the top 3 with both of us. This is the final must listen to album that I have to add to this list. It came at such an important time in history with nu metal becoming a thing, kind of post grunge stuff, and it is a perfect rock album in my opinion. I like hard rock, and normally I don't like screaming, but Chester Bennington on this album, his screaming is just perfect, and a lot of you won't understand that, and maybe I'm just like this because I grew up with it, but it is just so good and everyone needs to give it a chance. At number 4, I'm putting your number 5, Dirt by Alice in Chains. Congrats, Alice in Chains. Dirt is the only album on this whole video that made an appearance twice. I covered this one towards the beginning of the video during Noah's reviews, so check out what I said then. Classic album. I have it at number 4 only because I think nostalgia is heavier than an album being popular or iconic. The album still sounds how the cover looks. And lastly, I have Come Clean by Puddle of Mudd at my number 5. This was my first time listening to Puddle of Mudd's debut album, Come Clean. I did have a couple songs off of here already added. I think 5 of them already added. So I knew this album a little bit, but I just never heard the whole thing till now. Yeah, pre-album listen, I already had 5 songs added to my rock playlist, so that's perfect. This was a great album, honestly. I wasn't expecting how good this was going to be. And unfortunately it's top 5 just because it's up against some powerhouses. Also, just so you know, this is the absolute closest I'll get to anything country, and the only reason I say it's country is because there's a slight twang in the singer's voice, but it's a good album nonetheless. Okay, those are all the reviews for the albums. This video is already super long, I can tell, because I've been sitting here so long already. I'm gonna have to split up the recording for this video in 2 days, so I'm gonna get back to this tomorrow. I'll give some post-review conclusions, and then I'll do the rating and the ranking over on Tier Maker. All right, what's up guys? We're back on the webcam for section 2 of this video, the actual rating and ranking part of it. So I got the names here in order of how I went over them, and the way I'm gonna rank them is I'm gonna go from worst to best. I will say, for the 6 of y'all that did this, the bottom 3 were very easy to place, and the top 3 were so hard. It was difficult to figure this out, but I'm gonna explain my thoughts here. Coming in at last place, I'm sorry to do it, but it's gotta be A.MAX. I'm sorry, man. I feel like you saw it coming. I feel like people watching this video saw it coming. I'm not a fan of this type of music, and the Florida representation, it's there, you know, with 4 out of the 5 artists, but it's just not strong. In my opinion, if you had a different Florida list, you know, the artist would look something like Denzel, X, shit, even Ski Mask. Most people would say Kodak. I'm not really a fan of him, but you know, that's kind of what a Florida list would look like to most people, in my opinion. This one had a lot of smaller artists and kind of niche tastes here. What makes me put your list at the bottom is the feel that there's no care put into these albums. It might not make sense to some people, but just because you make music doesn't mean you make it with passion. Like, some people are just in it for the money, you know? I mean, shit, look at Fulio. People say he was into voodoo and dark magic and may have even sold his soul, and he even covered those things in his music. So, I mean, I don't know what to believe. Maybe he did, but just look at that, for example. I don't know what to believe, though. RIP to him. I'll hand it to you, Max, that the list is cohesive. I guess, you know, it's all the same side of hip-hop, with someone like Chief Keef being, like, the lead of that side. I'm sorry to put you at the bottom, man. It's just a difference in music taste. My number rating for your albums is gotta be a 2 out of 10, bro. I'm sorry, it's just not it to me. Next up is a list that I could get into, but right now, at this time in my life, I'm just not into, and that list is gonna be Noah. I'm sorry, man. The main thing that deters me from Noah's taste in music is the voice of the singers. If you don't like someone's voice, you're just not gonna like the music. That's just kind of a philosophy of mine. The number rating I'm gonna give Noah's list is a 5 out of 10. I think it's right in the middle. it's just mediocre to me. I will admit there's some great albums here, and I know some of them are classics, but it's just, as far as my taste, it's just gonna be lower on this list. For a similar reason, I'm gonna put Josh at the 4th place position. There's some classics on here. Travis Scott's really good. The things that deterred me from your list is the Cardi album and the Future album. First off, I said it earlier, I feel like there could have been any other Future album that you put on here and I would have liked it more. And for Cardi, I'm just not a Cardi fan, so it just kind of bumped it down for me. And compared to the others, you're just smack dab in the middle. So for that, I'm putting you at a respectable 4th place, right in the middle. And my number rating for your album list is gonna be a 6 out of 10. It's a little bit higher than Noah's because, you know, it's more my taste because I'm more into hip hop. It's got some albums that I kind of went into listening to hip hop music with. So for that, it's just above Noah's. Okay, we got the bottom 3 out the way. Thank you guys for participating. Now we're left with these top 3 lists right here. Coming in at 3rd place, I'm gonna have to put Jamie's albums. There's a couple things I want to say about this. This is, like I said before, Jamie's my brother, so our music taste is gonna be very similar. You know, a lot of these albums we came up on, we grew up with, you know. So nostalgia holds a huge weight for this. And there's a couple things. For one, I think it'd be kind of unfair to put him in 1st place because, you know, we grew up together. He's my brother. It's just kind of unfair ranking that against Friends albums. And secondly, it's all rock, as you can see. I'm really into rock, but I'm just more into hip hop. So these last 2 that we have left are more my direct taste, my favorites as well. But strictly driven from nostalgia, Jamie, I'm giving your list an 8 out of 10. Like I said, man, these top 3 were so hard for me to place. I just kept thinking of different reasons why I wanted each person in 1st, and I kept switching the order, but ultimately this is my final order. We're between Gabe and Max, Max and Gabe. Who's it gonna be? Coming in 2nd place, I'm gonna have to put Gabe. Gabe's list is coming 2nd. I'm gonna give you a rating right off the bat. It's a 9 out of 10. The only reason I want to give you a 10 out of 10 is because it's not all classics. But nothing missed the mark, man. I mean, these are great artists. These are some really good albums, some of their best albums from these artists. And some of them I think I may have showed you or you got from me. Correct me if I'm wrong on that though. I was excited to see that you had Kenny Mason in your top 5. That's pretty cool. I know you got him from me at least. And then also even the Sir album on there. I don't think you necessarily got that from me, but it's just, that's very my taste. It's such a good album and underrated pick. This is still a fire list and it's definitely my taste, so good stuff, man. Coming in at number 1, man, you already know, Max. This list, the diversity is impeccable. What an amazing list, man. I know I kind of turned yours upside down. I completely rearranged the order, but we have very similar taste. And the rock that you have on here, the kind of alternative rock, isn't exactly my vibe, but it's the kind of music that's just straight good music. Like it's just great. I think the Mac Miller kind of bumped it up for me, you know, because that album is definitely in my top 5. And then, you know, J. Cole, Currents by Tame Impala. You didn't go wrong on here. Just like Gabe's list, these are some great artists and some of their best albums, and they're just absolute classic albums. So the diversity is what ultimately pushed it over to the top for me, and I respect that with your music taste. I always respect when people listen to multiple genres, you know. And I'm not saying that to shit on anyone else. I'm just saying like in general. And Max, to give you a rating on your albums, I'm gonna give you a 10 out of 10. Perfect list. So there we have it. There's the rating and ranking part of this video, the main portion of the video. I hope it doesn't come off as underwhelming, you know, because it's definitely taken a while to get this video out, but you guys know I just take a while to do things. I procrastinate stuff, you know, there's life stuff. Shit happens. Since this is the first rating and ranking video that I'm doing, give me feedback. Let me know what I should do different. I didn't realize how long the reviewing part of it would take me. I only wrote down like a couple things about each album, but Yeah, I guess I just talk a lot. A lot of you may have been expecting me to rank each album separately, like put all 30 in a list and just rank them. And I'm planning on doing that. And if you want to see that in a video, I'll put that out as a part 2. For this though, I wanted to keep it as everyone's list. Then I'm taking your collective 5 list and putting it up against each other. Please give me feedback. Please leave a comment, a like. You know, give me that engagement, please. I need something. Once again, thank you to all of you who watch my videos, and thank you for participating and letting me talk shit about your albums. If you guys want to do another one or do something like songs or artists, maybe, I don't know, come up with any other one to do, leave it in the comments. Even if random viewers want to be a part of this, do something like this, let me know. I'm willing to do random viewers. I think that'd be fun. That's everything I got for this video. If you made it this far, I want to see a hashtag fuck Scott in the comments. I don't care how many times you've already commented, put fuck Scott in there. He didn't want to participate, man, so fuck him. It's always fuck Scott. Peace.